everybody, welcome. My name is Maggie Kiplagat, and I thank you so much for taking the time to join our webinar today. So to our wonderful nurses in Kenya, good evening. For all of you joining from the US, good morning and lovely morning to you. I'm especially excited for our Kenya nurses today, as this webinar is exclusively for you. As you know, Visa Solutions Healthcare and Hendrick Health take your decision to work for Hendrick Health and the relocation of you and your family very seriously. And so this is why we've decided to have this webinar specifically for those who have been pre-qualified for the event, to ensure that you are well informed so that you can make the best decision regarding your nursing career. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a lot to get covered. Like I said, my name is Maggie Kiplagat. I am the Interim Director for International Healthcare here at Visa Solutions Healthcare. I want you to know that this webinar is recorded. So if you need to revisit and clarify any information, you will have a copy. And again, this is an interactive session. So the chat box, as you know, is open for you on the side or the lower side of your screen. So please feel free to send your questions there and we'll grab them as we move along. So first and foremost, I know all of you are eager to meet the Hendrick Health team, and I'm so excited to do that too. So without further waiting, I'd like to ask Susan to take us through the introduction of the team, our team from Hendrick Health. And then from there, she will talk about the Hendrick Health community, life working at Hendrick Health, and much, much more, which I know our nurses are looking forward to listening to today. So Susan, without further ado, I'd like to hand over to you, and then you can take over your introductions and presentation. Welcome, everybody.
Okay, thank you so much, Maggie. Hello, nurses from Kenya, and good evening. We are so excited to spend the next few minutes with you, telling you about our hospitals and about our community, and hopefully generating some interest where you will want to come join our family of nurses. I have with us today, starting with Heather Ray. Heather is our Chief Nursing Officer in Abilene. That is the city where our two hospitals are located, where you are interviewing to come. And so Heather's going to be able to visit with you and answer some of your questions today. Heather will also be coming with us to Kenya. And so you may get to interview with her in person on site. Heather, you want to say a few words?
Yeah, good evening. I'm so excited to meet you guys. As much as you're excited to meet us, we can't wait to get there and in person get a meet and greet and help answer any questions you have. Definitely, this is a life-changing adventure for you guys, and we're so excited to partner with you on this and just get you home to our family here in Abilene.
Yes, that's right. And Heather's story is great. When we talk about growth and opportunities at Hendrick, Heather is a shining example of that. She went through nursing school and has spent her career moving up through the ranks to become Chief Nursing Officer of our two hospitals in Abilene. So a great story that she can share with you. Also with us today is Erin Ike. Erin is our Senior Director of Nursing, and she is over surgical services in the Abilene market and all of our surgery centers. Erin, you want to say a few words to the group?
I just want to say good evening, and I'm so excited to meet all of y'all. I see everybody on here, and I'm very impressed. I can't wait to meet y'all all face to face and get to hear your story and interview you to see your position you can fulfill at Hendrick.
Erin, like Erin just said, she will be coming with us to Kenya as well. And so we're very excited to get to meet you. But we're most excited to introduce to you Charity Muhiri. Charity came to Hendrick from Kenya. She has been with us since 2020. She is a nurse on one of our medical surgical units. And so Charity, would you like to say anything to the group?
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Charity Muhire. I am excited to be with y'all, and I can't wait to share my experience and just get to give you tips on how to survive when you get here, and just hopefully convince you to continue with the process and as you pick Hendricks. And I'm excited for you guys to also join our family out here.
That's great. Thank you, Charity. Okay, well, we're going to go through a presentation of a few slides, and then, like Maggie said, we're going to have a time for you to be able to ask questions, and you'll do that in the chat box. And if we are not able to answer all of your questions this evening, we will have a way to either get you that information, or we will be prepared to answer those questions when we are on site in Kenya for the interviews. So let's get started. On this first screen, you see a picture of our 3 hospitals. We do have 3. 2 are in Abilene, and those are the hospitals that you will be interviewing to come to. We do have a hospital in another community. The name is Brownwood, but our positions are pretty much full in Brownwood, so you will be interviewing to come to Abilene, and that is the 2 hospitals that are in the middle of our arches. Let's go on to the next slide. We always start any presentation with our mission because it is so embedded in who we are as an organization, and it really drives our care on a daily basis and how we interact with our patients, with our community, with our visitors, but also with each other. And we think it's what makes Hendrick Health so special. So we want to share that with you today, and that is to deliver high quality healthcare, emphasizing excellence and compassion, consistent with the healing ministry of Jesus Christ. And if you click on one more time, you'll see a picture of our arches. That is part of our logo, and it embodies that mission. The 2 white arches in the center of our logo represent excellence and compassion, and it's meant to signify the arch is covering our community with care, because our community supported Hendrick 100 years ago when we were formed. And so we are giving back to our community by covering our community with excellent and compassionate care. We want to start with that discussion because we want you to know the expectation when you join our family. Not only are you joining as a nurse, but we're going to expect you to live out that mission in your daily interactions with our patients, taking care of our patients like you would take care of a family member that you love, making sure that we provide exceptional care. And so it's a very special organization, and I hope that makes you want to join our family of nurses. Next slide. So about Abilene, Texas. In the blue is a picture of the United States. And Texas is the largest state, and it is in the center of the United States, down at the bottom in the southern part of the country. Our population in Abilene is 125,000 people. But sometimes it feels a little bit larger because just outside of Abilene is Dyess Air Force Base. And in Dyess, there are 14,000 airmen and women and their families. And so it's a nice community, probably smaller than some of the communities that you live in. But we have all of the nice things that you might want in a community, but it has a very family feel, safe feel to it. And it's about in the center to the west side of Texas. Covering our temperature, as Maggie said, we're quite cold right now. It's cold for us. You can go to the northern edge of the United States where it snows 3 months out of the year. We're nothing like that. So for us, it's cold. We are wearing coats today. But you can see our average January temperature is about 8 degrees Celsius. Low is 1, high is 15. And then in the summer, June is the summer for us. Our average temperature is 27, low is 21, high of 34. So the nice thing about Abilene is you have all the seasons. In the winter, it's cold, and you get to wear a coat and sweaters and bundle up. Occasionally we have snow, but in the summer it's quite hot, possibly what you're used to, so that you get to experience all of that. Next slide. Okay, this picture just shows you kind of where Abilene is in the state of Texas. But not only do we take care of the patients that live in Abilene, the 125,000 people that live there, but we are in West Texas, which means that people live out in the country. They have cattle ranches, and not everyone lives in the city limits of Abilene. And so we take care of people that live outside of Abilene. And so it's a larger population. So we serve about 9% of the landmass of Texas, which consists of 24 counties and about 400,000 people. So in a minute, when Charity gets to talk to you, maybe she can put that in perspective of some area that you are used to seeing, how big the area is. But we are taking care of a region that consists of about 400,000 patients. Next slide. So I want to spend some time here and talk to you about our commitments to excellence, because this really sets us apart as an organization. And I want to share with you a few of these that are probably very important to you. These commitments to excellence are what we are evaluated on every year, and it's what we commit to follow when we become employed at Hendrick. These are the behavior standards that we commit to following. The first one is providing excellent customer service, and we already talked about that. Taking care of our patients just like we would take care of a family member, but also treating each other with dignity and respect. Acting with a positive attitude. You know, you're going to encounter some days or some situations that aren't always positive, that are challenging, but it's the way we respond to that situation that sets Hendrick apart. We always approach it with a positive attitude, and how can we make a difference, and how can we turn the situation around and approach it from a positive standpoint. Supporting teamwork, that is going to be important to you as a new nurse, knowing that the other nurses are going to rally around and support you and make sure that you have a good day. And we're going to want you to support them, because we really come together as a team on our nursing units to make sure that everyone is supported and that we are taking care of our patients, and no one has a bad day without the other nurses jumping in to offer help. Taking ownership, that just means when you find someone lost in the hospital, you're going to escort them. When you see trash on the floor, you're going to pick it up just like you were at your house, so that we all come together to take care of our organization. Respecting all, I want to assure you that even though you're a nurse from Kenya, when you come to work at Hendrick, we are going to respect you. We're going to respect your dignity. You're not going to feel like an outsider, and we're going to want you to respect others as well. Demonstrate professional behavior. That just is what it says. We act professional at all times. We want to communicate well with others, and of course, protect privacy. Next slide. So a few awards and accomplishments that I want to point out to you, just so that you know you're joining a very high quality organization. For the 18th year in a row, when we complete our Gallup survey, we have been selected by the Gallup organization, which is an international organization, as a best places to work. And that is not easily won. We're only one in few healthcare organizations that receive that, and we have received it this past year for the 18th year in a row. And not only is that the information that we send to Gallup on behalf of our organization, but that comes from an anonymous survey that some of our employees are selected to complete, that the Gallup organization has awarded us that honor. And so just know that you are joining an exceptional organization. And then finally, we also are a DAISY Award winner organization. The DAISY Award is an organization just for nurses to recognize the exceptional care that they provide. And I will just tell you that many times our internationally educated nurses are the nurses to receive that DAISY Award, because they're so compassionate, and our patients love you, and we'll be very excited to nominate you for that award. Next slide. Okay, so starting in and telling you some information specifically about our organizations. On the left is a picture of Hendrick Medical Center, and on the right is a picture of Hendrick Medical Center South. We tend to call the hospital on the left the North Campus and the picture on the right the South, because they're situated in the north side of Abilene, the north side of the city, and the south side of the city. Hendrick Medical Center North was our very first hospital that was built 100 years ago. But about 4 years ago, we were out of room. We have to serve 400,000 people, and we just simply didn't have enough space. And so we knew that we could either build new hospitals or we could buy. And the company that owned Hendrick Medical Center South and Brownwood had put those hospitals up for sale. And so we purchased those hospitals so that we could very quickly invest in them, purchase beds to replenish some of their units that were closed down. And we were able to regain some capacity to take care of our community. We are in the process of opening and renovating additional units in the South Campus and in Brownwood, but we are also embarking on a building plan on the North Campus to continue to grow. And so that's the main reason that we're coming to Kenya, is that we need more nurses to take care of our community as we grow and as we build. So our original hospital on the North Campus is a 438-bed facility. Any given day, we have 330, 350 patients there. It is our highest acuity hospital, and our medical center on the South Campus is a 231-bed facility. Any given day has about 100 patients, but like I said, we're opening more units on that campus, and it is one of our surgical hospitals, a full-service hospital. It delivers babies, has a NICU, and has inpatient services. Next slide. So I want to say, when you are interviewing with us in Kenya, you don't have to be worried about telling us, I want to go to the North Campus or I want to go to the South Campus. You're simply interviewing for the Abilene market, and then we will work with you closer to time. Where is our opening? What is your interest? And where does it make sense to place you? But that's not a decision that you have to make when we are there on site interviewing you. So in the Abilene market, we do offer all of these services. Basically, the only thing we don't offer is we don't do organ transplant surgeries. We do harvest organs. We have a program for our patients that have chosen at death to be an organ donor, but we do not transplant those organs at Hendrick in Abilene. And we also don't offer pediatric subspecialty surgeries. We do basic things like appendectomies, but otherwise, everything else we offer in Abilene. So within those two hospitals, we are truly a full service acute care organization. Next slide. All right, I want to spend some time talking to you about nursing at Hendrick. First of all, when you join and you come to Abilene, we will work with you to have an individualized unit-based orientation. You can expect to spend at least 6 weeks in orientation. And if you go to some of our specialty units like surgical services, ICU, emergency department, your orientation is going to be even longer. Even though you are an experienced nurse, we are going to put you through full orientation to make sure that you feel comfortable before you are independent with our patients. And so we have unit-based educators that you will meet with every couple of weeks with your manager to say, how's it going? What else do we need to make sure that you're checked off on, that you need some specialized training on? So no worries about your orientation. We are going to spend all the time that's needed to make sure that you are comfortable and familiar with the equipment, with our culture, and with nursing at Hendrick. We are going to have an international residency program. So what that means is, for your first year that you are at Hendrick, you will start in classroom orientation. Then you will move to your unit, where you will go through unit orientation. But one day every month, you will be pulled off of your unit and you'll be brought to a classroom with other internationally educated nurses that are at Hendrick at the same time. And you all will spend a day going through specialized training just for you, making sure that you are making that transition from Kenya or from the Philippines or from Dubai, wherever the nurses are from. You all will be having discussions about any questions specific to you. And as you integrate and join our hospital, making sure that you make that transition and you don't have questions like going from the metric system to our measurement system, making sure the IV pumps, that you don't have questions about them, maybe communication with doctors. We will be spending specialized time with you, making sure that you make that transition and that we get all of your questions answered. We are in the process of implementing a career ladder because your growth is very important to us. So a career ladder will allow you to take your experience and the things that you are doing in Hendrick and be able to demonstrate to us that you are growing yourself and you are becoming more comfortable, more experienced, more confident. And as you do, as you get those certifications and those experiences and you are able to demonstrate to us certain competencies, you will be able to move up that career ladder. As you move up that career ladder, that will come with a title change, with a monetary increase. And so that's something that you can look forward to doing. We definitely invest in our nurses, whether that is through certification, additional training, or maybe you're going to want to, over time, go back to school. We will have ways to help you go back to school or to help reimburse you on the back end if you have gone to school, because we want you to be able to continue to grow. In the United States, there are growth opportunities for nurses to either become nurse practitioners or to become CRNAs, where you are helping put patients to sleep. We will help you if you are interested in that to go back to school. And in a minute, we're going to allow Heather to share with you a few words about her growth opportunity and how she has progressed through education, and Hendrick has helped her along that journey. And then we just want you to know that you are joining a large group of internationally educated nurses. You will not be alone when you join Hendrick. Next slide. So here's a photo of some of those nurses. Back in 1994, we went on a journey to recruit nurses from the Philippines, and this is a picture of those nurses. And last year, they called themselves the 39ers because there was a group of 39 nurses. And last year, they celebrated their 39th year of coming from the Philippines and joining Hendrick. Many of those are still at Hendrick, and you can see that photo on the right. They had t-shirts. They had an anniversary celebration where they came back to Hendrick on the North Campus, and they celebrated that 30th anniversary with a big reunion, and we were happy to be a part of that. So just know that nurses that have joined us from international countries have been very excited and happy to stay at Hendrick, as Charity has done, and she'll share her story with you shortly. Next slide. This is when we start this video, this is a video that is going to share just a few minutes looking at the city of Abilene. And that is a photo of Abilene. That's downtown Abilene. And so we're going to play this video just so you get a feel for our community.
Our pioneering spirit led us to the vast frontier of West Texas, where we can drive, teach, shape, and care for our own. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones that are building our home. You have the talent. We have the community. Come be a part of shaping our future. Find out more at AbileneWorks.com.
When we were looking when we were looking for this video, you can go to AbileneWorks.com. You can also Google Abilene, Texas, and there are a number of videos. Some of them are 15 to 20 minutes in duration, where you can really see some of the nice things about our community that you'll be joining. But a few of the things that we want to highlight today. First of all, looking on the right side of the screen, back to the picture of the state of Texas. Abilene is about a 1 hour direct flight to Dallas, Fort Worth. We do have an airport. It will fly you to Dallas, Fort Worth. And from Dallas, Fort Worth, you can catch an international flight anywhere in the world. When we fly to Kenya from Dallas, Fort Worth, we will be connecting through London and then flying into Kenya. We could have also made a connection through Doha. And so a very easy flight. You can drive to Dallas, Fort Worth to the airport. It's a very easy, about a 2.5 hour drive, but you can also catch a flight and fly there. It is very low cost of living, and we are going to be sharing a flyer with you explaining how far your money will go. The money that you will make as a nurse at Hendrick will allow you to afford a very nice home, to afford a vehicle where you can drive throughout the community and around the state. It is a very safe community with very low crime. I shouldn't tell this, but I told the group when we went last summer to the Philippines and Dubai, half the time I don't even remember to lock my car or to lock my house. And it's not an issue. It's very low crime. You can go out at night. You can go to the grocery store at night when it's dark and not fear walking to your vehicle afterwards. You can go to the parks with your children and allow them to run around and play and not be fearful of anything happening. We have very minimal traffic. And so whether you work at the South Campus or the North Campus, just know that it's a 15-minute drive across town with very minimal traffic, and so easy to navigate. If some of you don't drive and you need to learn to drive, it's going to be a very easy community for you to learn to drive around in. We have excellent public schools with 3 universities, 2 colleges in town, where if you do bring your children with you, they are going to be able to excel in our schools and eventually go to college. And we, again, like I said, we have very easy access to an international airport. If you know other people that have come to the state of Texas, we wanted to show you about where those other nurses might be. If they are working in Dallas or around Dallas area, you're just a couple of hours to get to go visit them. If they are working in Houston, that's about a 5-hour drive to go visit them. If they're working in Austin, that's about a 4-hour drive. San Antonio is about the same. Or if they're up in Lubbock or Amarillo, those are the larger cities around town, around the state of Texas that we see nurses are working in. Next slide. Okay, just to touch on a few benefits. First of all, let me tell you, I'm a nurse, and that is my specialty, and that's my priority. I'm going to talk to you briefly about some of the benefits that we offer, but I am not an expert in human resources. When we come to Kenya, we will be bringing 2 employees from our human resources department with us. And so they are going to be the expert in these employee benefits. And if you are selected to come to Hendrick, you're going to get to have a chance to visit with them in person where they can explain those more. But just to touch on what you can expect to receive, we do have full medical, dental, vision, and life insurance. The medical community in the United States may be different than in Kenya, and they can explain that difference, but you will have insurance that we provide for the employee free of cost, but then you are able to purchase insurance for your family, and that is taken out of your check every pay period to be able to provide that insurance. We do have a retirement savings plan so that when you retire, you have that money that can help pay for your retirement. And Hendrick does do a matching program that if you put at least 3% of your salary back, then we match that with an additional 3%. We do offer paid time off for vacation, sick, and personal time. So you can expect to be able to have that vacation time where you can take a few weeks to travel back to Kenya to visit family and friends and know that that time is paid for you to be able to go back. And it accrues every pay period. You get additional time off, and then you're able to watch that on your paycheck. And when enough time has accrued that you can take that time off, your manager will work with you to schedule that vacation. And then we do offer some additional benefits like adoption support, organ and bone marrow donation support, mission support, were you to want to take time off to serve in a medical mission capacity, that you are able to take up to a week vacation paid to do that medical mission. And then some other perks that our Human Resources Department will talk with you about. Next slide. And this is our last slide. We just want to say again, we are so excited to get to meet you in person and see you. Our event is Wednesday, February the 19th. And at this point, I'll turn it back over to Maggie.
Thank you so much, Susan. Just listening to you speak about Hendrick Health just makes me feel really warm that we have an amazing partner that has an amazing, amazing hospital where I know people will be proud to work at. So thank you so much for that amazing presentation. Just overall, nurses, just send your comments. Like, what do you think about Hendrick Health? Like, I know somebody said that it just looks like a very warm and amazing place to work, which I agree with you. It's amazing. And thank you for painting that picture for us, Susan, and the team. So I think a couple of questions came through. The first question that I saw was, are we recruiting for outpatient nurses for this event? Are we employing outpatient nurses?
So I'm going to turn that question over to Erin Ike, because our outpatient departments that we would be recruiting for are mainly going to be in our surgical services unit. And then after Erin speaks, Heather, will you speak to that as well?
Mm-hmm.
Good evening. Yes, as far as surgical services, we are recruiting for outpatient. We have 2 surgery centers, one on the north side and one on the south side, as well as a pain suite that we'll be recruiting for. We'll be recruiting mainly for pre-op and PACU in that area, but we do have a few open OR positions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Erin. I think, Susan, there are a few questions coming up regarding pay and how do you have the pay discussion with nurses during the interviews?
Yes. Heather, go ahead and speak to the other outpatient services, and then I'll touch on the pay.
Sure. The other couple outpatient areas I mentioned would be our infusion clinics. And so we have a chemo infusion that's connected with our cancer center and a wonderful team of chemo doctors there. And so that's an area of opportunity. And then also similar to that, we have an outpatient infusion department. So maybe patients needing antibiotics, blood transfusions. So that's a great area that we can connect with if you're interested on those.
Yes, and depending on our need, we also have an outpatient dialysis unit and inpatient dialysis as well. And so that may be an opportunity as well. So if you are interested in outpatient services, you can let one of us know when you're interviewing and we can talk to you about openings. Back to pay. So we have a starting rate for a new graduate nurse at around $30 US an hour. Now, we have a pay grid that increases based on your years of experience, and we will honor your years of experience in Kenya. And so you will receive an individualized offer if you are selected to come to Hendrick from our human resources team that will review with you your actual rate of pay. However, in addition to your base rate, we do have differentials. And so I want to spend some time talking about that. If you work the night shift, we have 2 shifts, 7A to 7P, and then 7P to 7A. And if you work the night shift, it is several dollars more an hour than the day shift is. If you work weekends, the same thing. We do have incentives for holidays, we do have additional incentives if you become experienced and choose to be a charge nurse, if you are precepting other nurses, if you are working additional shifts, we have on-call pay. And so that base rate of pay is just what it means. It's the base rate. It's the minimum that you will make per hour. Then you will have the opportunity to, excuse me, to make additional dollars based on when you're working, how much you're working, and what you're doing while you're working.
Thank you so much, Susan. And I'd love to hear you speak about pay, because this is the beauty of direct recruitment. You get to sit with your employer, decide, and based on your years of experience and specialty, you decide what pay works best, of course, depending on what the facility is capable of giving out. So that's something that really excites me. And I know the nurses really appreciate that, because they'll be speaking to you directly regarding their pay and their personal development. So there have been a few questions actually that have come in regarding NCLEX, IELTS, visas. I'm going to use this time to focus on questions for Hendrick, because those are all visa solutions, and I promise I will get back to you. So one question that came up that I thought was really good was, what are some of the challenges, Susan, that a nurse can face working at Hendrick Health? Because we know no workplace is perfect. So what are some of the support systems that you have for your nurses as well?
Sure. I'm also seeing questions about how many hours per shift. So let me kind of talk about that together. So your full-time schedule is going to be 3 12-hour shifts a week. That being said, we do have a few departments. For example, our cath lab tends to schedule 4 10-hour shifts. In surgical services, there may be some shifts that are a little different. But for the most part, for the typical units, it's going to be 3 12-hour shifts a week. That is where you will be earning full-time benefits and full-time paid time off. However, in addition to that, we do have the ability for you to work more. And so you can sign up for additional shifts. Some departments do require some on-call shifts, so many a pay period. So the typical is 3 12-hour shifts a week, but then on call after that. You know, challenges at Hendrick, I think with any nursing position, there's just challenging days, right? You may have a patient that is scared, and that comes across as angry, and you just have to put your compassionate hat on and understand where they're coming from, and try to deal with them as a whole person, and the fears and the frustrations that come with that. At Hendrick, some of the things you won't be having to deal with is you know, the lack of equipment or the lack of support or the lack of medications. We are very heavily invested in exceptional patient care. And so you will have the tools that you need to take care of your patients. We do have a hospitalist program. And what that means is that we have doctors in the hospital 24 hours a day. And so you do have resources to come support you, whether that's in the emergency department or out on the floor. You have providers that you can call at any time of the day or night to come assist you with the patients. You know, I think probably some of your bigger challenges are just going to be you're moving to a new country, and you're going to need to learn to drive in Abilene, because public transportation, although it's available, it is not the typical mode of transportation, and things are not within walking distance. And so finding a place to live, learning to drive if you don't know how to drive, learning to navigate the city, and simply moving to a new country, those are going to be some of your bigger challenges. But that's the reason that we are putting the international residency program in place. And we have an international person in our human resources department that will be a resource for you to make sure that you are getting into the culture and into the community like we would want you to be able to integrate.
Thank you so much, Susan. Before the next question, someone asked about nurse to patient ratio. I think since we're within the same topic. Yeah.
Yes, so we're very excited. Not sure what you're used to, maybe depending on the type of hospital that you're working at. But we do have very good ratios, and I am going to turn this over to Heather to kind of run through that gamut because it varies based on the type of unit you're working on.
Sure, I'll start in our most critical care. In our intensive care units, it's a 1 to 2 to 1 to 3. If you transpose that up to intermediate care, which is a step down from ICU, 1 to 3, we have progressive care units, which is more cardiac telemetry monitoring. Those are typically 1 to 4, 1 to 5. In our medical surgical type units, a 1 to 5, maybe 1 to 6. And so a lot of different broad specialties there. We also have a NICU. I saw somebody asking about NICU. We very much have neonatal care units, and so that's both at the South and the North Campus. They're a little bit different in the acuity of what patients they will keep, but we can take up to 24 weekers that have been born here at a North Campus. And so in that area, it's a 1 to 2.
Yes, thank you for that. Just know that that nurse to patient ratio is in addition to support. And so, for example, we have a PIC team that can help with difficult IV starts and comes to start any PIC lines or midlines. We have a wound care team that supports. We have a code blue team, a rapid response team, and then you're going to have assistance in your unit from either patient care technicians or nurse techs. Those are nursing students that are going to school that are working for us to be able to assist you with the patients. So that's a very good ratio, but also you have support services. I see a question that Fred put out to the group. Is overtime mandated and is it paid? So it's not mandated. On some units, it is scheduled. So some units work 3 shifts a week, 1 week of the pay period, and 4 shifts the following week, but it is scheduled like that. You are offered additional shifts, but not required to come in unless you're on call. If you're on call, you're required to come in, but you are paid both by the hour to be on call, and then that time that you come back in and work is paid at time and a half. And all overtime over 40 hours is paid at time and a half.
Thank you so much, Susan. I think I'm gonna ask for a short break from the questions because of time's sake. Would like to hear from Charity. Maybe you can introduce us and introduce Charity to us. And then maybe Charity can speak to her journey. There are a few questions regarding family, transition to the community there, her life at work, and I think you'll answer quite a few of questions that have come through through our conversation with her. So over to you, Susan.
Yes, so Charity, as you're coming off mute, I'll just say that we're very excited to have Charity with us today. Just know that Charity is not the only nurse that works with us from Kenya, but we selected her for today, and we're very grateful that she is willing to spend a few minutes visiting with you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Charity.
All right. Hello, everyone again. Charity here. I am originally born and raised from Mombasa, Kenya. And then I went to high school in Nairobi, and I came to the US in 2008. My visa was a little bit different for most of you that are going to be accepted and pass the interview. I came here as a student. So I was just right from high school, didn't go to college. I didn't do any nursing education in Kenya, but ended up in, I came through Dallas, Texas, and then I ended up in Abilene. I want to say the experience was great and thrilling at the same time. When I first got here, I want to say I had a sister that I was already staying in Dallas. So they came to pick me up, and immediately the thing that I noticed, you land at the airport. It's January, it's very cold like it is right here. I think it was snowing at that time as well. So we're driving off from the airport, and I just asked her, like, where is everybody? Because I'm coming from, I lived in Mombasa and then I went to Nairobi. So very fast paced for those of you that have lived in Nairobi. The streets are very busy. And here we are, we're in a car, it's like evening hours, and I don't see anybody walking around the streets. So I'm like, where's everybody? And my sister just laughed and she was like, well, you'll get used to it. And then just getting acquainted with the weather also was a little bit of a challenge, but they made sure that I had all my warm stuff with me. And then another thing is culture shock for me is how food tasted initially. It was very different from what I was used to. I mean, I was staying with my sister and she made sure that the food felt very homely, but initially, you still have that still miss home food. So another, just one suggestion, if you end up traveling here, for those who like seasoning their food, don't forget your Royco. That is my to-go list. All right, now I spent an overnight in Dallas, and then the following day I came back to Abilene because that's where my school was going to be. Now I'm getting to Abilene, comparing it to Dallas, where, I'm seeing the cars are moving very fast, life is very busy, and then I'm getting to Abilene, it's a little bit slow paced, and just to get you guys to understand that concept of how is Abilene. First of all, Texas is about 1.2 times as big as Kenya is. Now, when you come to Abilene, how I compared it initially when I got here is more of like your Nakuru, Kisumu, not like your Nairobi. So a little bit smaller than Nairobi. Life is very small paced. Abilene is a very good place. It's a great place to initially land as you're transitioning here in America. It's one place where you're gonna have a great perspective of what America is, how things are, moving in America, the do's and don'ts while you're here. So it's a very great place to start life in America. Another thing also is when I came to Abilene, I noticed that there was a Kenyan community. So we have lots of Kenyans that live in Abilene, most that came with the lottery system. So you'll get to meet people who are from Kenya that can welcome you, help you as you get through your first days of here. And then, so I went to school. I want to say I started with my certificates as an LVN, and then I went up, did my associates, which is the registered nurse, and then I got my bachelor's, still here in Abilene. And then I worked my way through up to my master's. So once I was done with my master's, I was like trying to see where I can fit best, and a lot of my friends that we graduated with were like, oh, we're moving out of Abilene. But I wanted to make sure that I'm not just moving because everybody is moving out of Abilene. I wanted to make sure that my values are going to be considered where I am going. And then I wanted to make sure that I'll feel safe, I'll feel accepted. So I started, I put in my application to Hendrick's because I was drawn to the mission statement. I think it was in the second slide when we started, I was born and raised in a Christian family. My parents were preachers. So just seeing that the mission statement aligned with my values, I was like, this is where I gotta be. This is where I want to serve. I went to school and at some point I was applying for scholarships, and on the scholarship, I put that I want to serve the people of West Texas. So it was just my great joy to land my feet in a hospital in West Texas and just be able to serve and just continue with my career journey here in Hendricks. Now, sorry?
No, that's okay.
Yes, and then when you get to what the one thing that I love Hendrix about is the culture. The culture of Hendrix, the first time you just land into the premises, it's the smiling culture. It's very welcoming. Like you will, once you, any person with a badge walking in Hendrix will not pass you without smiling. So no matter what days you're going, what is going on with you, sometimes you're busy, sometimes you're missing home, but you're walking down the streets, you're going to the cafeteria to get something, or you're going to get blood, you're going to the blood bank. People are very respectful. People are smiling at you, and it's hard not to smile back. So that kind of sparks a fire, and you just get happy about it. Another thing is the positive attitude amongst the co-workers, the top, your leaders, the people that are superior from you. They'll always treat you with a positive attitude. Honestly, we work days, and sometimes, like me, I'm a morning person. And I can see some people, when like the night shifters, when they're coming in, sometimes they're still not fully awake. And but even in that moment, they still have that positive attitude with them. So that kind of gives you that fire to wanna work here. And there's always teamwork. You don't feel alone. The new nurse orientation, I went through a different kind of new nurse orientation, but I believe they touch the same information that we were given is going to be the same that you will receive as an in the international nurses orientation. So with that, you're fully prepared. Before you even hit the floors to where you get to see your patients, they make sure that they prepare you. They give you the needed, necessary information. And then when it's time for you to get to the floor, you're paired with very qualified nurses that have the experience, and not even the experience, that are very patient with you, that are going to carry you through your orientation days, that are very flexible in their teaching ways. So they will be very flexible, and they're very understanding. There's always a safe space, when you get overwhelmed, you can always say. And one thing that I loved about me coming to the units was that I wasn't rushed out of orientation. They made sure that I was safe to be on my own. And it's always great, you just want to know that, okay, I have someone that will understand me, someone that will get me. Another thing is that I love about Hendrix is diversity. You're going to work with a great diverse group of people. They've said we have people from Philippines, we have people from Kenya, we have people from different places, and that makes it fun, as you're working through, because you're going to be taking care of patients from a diverse range of people. You're going to meet people that are different. So as you're even taking care of your patients, you're working with people that their cultures are different. You're learning to even know, okay, if I end up with a patient that is from this culture, so this is how I should handle them. So that is something that, gives you that comfort. Again, they said I am not the only Kenyan nurse that is working at Hendrix. I do have some of the friends. Actually, I have some that have been here for like 6 months or 4 months. And I just met them through, before you even get to meet them, someone had texted me, hey, I have a Kenyan nurse coming here. Do you mind just talking to them, make sure that they're very comfortable and welcomed here. So when you guys get here, you have the Hendrix group to carry you, but then you have me that I came from Kenya. I was one of you at some point, that I can, help you get through your if you're homesick, get to show you where you can get your what will I say, like Kenyan food where you get to shop. If for those of you that don't have the natural hair, I can show you where to get the natural hair. We have churches here. We used to have a Kenyan church, but unfortunately they did move to Dallas. But we still have different churches. I know different Kenyans that go to different churches. So we can, move around, find you a place, find you a home church to go for those that are practicing Christianity. And again, they've also talked about the flexibility in scheduling. What I love about Hendricks is, especially for the unit that I work in teleops, it's the flexibility in scheduling. I get to pick my schedules. And if you want to transition on the career ladder, you want to get up there educationally, you get to pick your schedule. So the days that you feel like, okay, I'm going to be preoccupied with school stuff, or I have clinicals on these days, the managers or whoever is working on your schedule is work with you. They're very understanding. So you don't get overwhelmed with your school. You can still work. So you don't have to be at that point where I'm going to have to stop working to go to school. So you can do both. It's very doable. The opportunity to grow the income. Sorry?
No, that's
Okay.
great.
Yes.
And you're giving them such great information. We're starting to lose some participants, so I just want to make sure that we kind of wrap this up. I did see a question about when does one start earning once we get there? The minute you start orientation, everything you do for Hendrick is paid. But I do want to touch on one thing. This is a direct hire model. And so there were some questions about contracts and things like that. Visa Solutions will be visiting with you on site about your arrangement with them. But with Hendrick, it is a direct employee model. So you will not be like coming through a company and you're just contracted with us for a few years and then we drop you. You will be directly employed by Hendrick, just like our other nurses. So Maggie, I'm going to turn it back over to you now.
Thank you so much, Susan. Charity, you speaking just makes me want to work at Hendrick like yesterday. Sounds like an amazing, amazing place to work. Thank you for sharing your story, your journey, and for any questions that came through that we were not able to answer, please not to worry. Immigration questions, NCLEX, IELTS, all those things are Visa Solutions expertise. So we will reach out to you with a response. Any other questions that came through for Hendrick Health, we will go ahead and put them together and hopefully answer them at the event. So nurses, remember, recruitment event is next month on the 19th at the Sarova Stanley Hotel, Nairobi town. Make sure that you confirm your pre-screening call because this is your way to securing your interview slot. All the candidates have to be pre-screened. So if no one has gone through that process, make sure that you do that. A few of you asked about a recording of this clip. Yes, we do have it. We will send it to you. There were some repetitive questions that came through that we had already spoken about, and they're covered in this webinar today. So please, nurses, prepare for your interviews. We have given you so much information today about Hendrick Health, and I know where your decision lies already, because if I were in your position, I know what I would be picking today. So thank you so much for your time. We are going to wrap up there. So on behalf of Hendrick Health, Susan and your team, we are so excited to be partners and happy to be working with you. Looking forward to seeing you and the team again in Nairobi, and looking forward to seeing the nurses interview, wishing them all the best so that they can be one of the charities. And we look forward for them to being part of the Hendrick family. So we appreciate you so much for your time. And for that, we are going to close our event, our webinar today. Thank you all. Have a good evening.